You're doing it again. Someone questions your choice, and before you even think, the words are pouring out. You're explaining, justifying, defending decisions that don't need defense. By the time you finish, you feel smaller, weaker, like you just handed them power you didn't need to give. Here's what nobody tells you. Every time you over-explain yourself, you're sending a message. Not the message you think. You're not proving you're right or reasonable or thoughtful. You're broadcasting, I need your approval. I'm not sure of myself. Please validate me. And people hear it. They might not consciously know what they're hearing, but they feel it. That's why the more you explain, the less they respect your decision. The more you justify, the more they question. What if you could stop this pattern completely? Not by becoming cold or distant, but by accessing something the Stoics called gravitas, and what Alan Watts understood as the power of non-resistance. Today, you're learning why silence is your most underrated weapon and how to wield it without saying a word. The disease of over-explanation. Let's be specific about what this looks like. Sarah texts her friend, "Can't make dinner tonight, sorry." Perfectly fine message. But then comes the avalanche. "I've just been so exhausted from work and I haven't had a night to myself in weeks and I really need to recharge and I hope you understand. I'm not flaking. I just really need this and..." Or Michael at work. His boss questions a project decision. Instead of a confident, brief response, Michael launches into a 10-minute monologue explaining his entire thought process, every factor he considered, every alternative he rejected, essentially begging his boss to agree that yes, he made the right call. You've done this. I've done this. We all have. The question is, why? The psychology behind the compulsion. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his personal journal at 3 a.m. while commanding the Roman Empire, identified the core issue. If you seek approval from others, you make yourself their slave. Here's what's happening psychologically. When you over-explain, you're operating from a place of fear of judgment. You're trying to prevent criticism by explaining away every possible objection before it can be raised. But here's the paradox. The more you defend against phantom criticism, the more you signal there's something to criticize. Fear of being misunderstood. You believe if people just knew your full reasoning, they'd have to agree with you. But understanding and agreement aren't the same thing. Often people understand you perfectly. They just disagree. No amount of explanation changes that. Fear of appearing flawed. You think admitting you made a choice without elaborate justification makes you look impulsive or thoughtless. Actually, it's the opposite. Confident people make decisions and move on. Insecure people need to explain them to death. Epictetus taught his students, if anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, he was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone. Translation. Your job isn't to defend yourself against every opinion. It's impossible anyway. What silence actually communicates. Here's what the Stoics understood that most people miss. Silence after a decision is a power move. When someone questions your choice and you simply say, I decided this is what's best for me, and nothing more, here's what they unconsciously receive. Self-assuredness. You're so secure in your decision that you don't need their validation. That's magnetic. People are drawn to certainty. Boundaries. You're making clear that your choices aren't up for negotiation or committee review. This earns respect, even from people who disagree. Maturity. Children explain themselves constantly because they genuinely need adult approval. Adults make choices and own them. When you stop over-explaining, you signal, I'm not a child seeking permission anymore. Alan Watts put it this way. Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. The more you explain who you are and why you do what you do, the more you trap yourself in an identity that needs constant defense. The 4 types of explanations. You need to stop. Not all explanations are created equal. Some are necessary, most aren't. Here's what needs to go. 1. The preemptive strike. This is when you explain before anyone even asks. I'm ordering salad, not because I'm on a diet or anything. I just really want salad right now, you know? Nobody cared, you just created an issue where none existed. Why you do it? You're anticipating judgment and trying to defend against it before it arrives. But by doing this, you're actually planting the idea of judgment in people's minds. What to do instead? Make your choice and shut up. Order the salad. Wear the outfit. Take the job, without commentary. 2. The life story. Someone asks why you can't make an event. Instead of "I have other plans," you provide your entire schedule, your energy levels, your recent stress, your future commitments, and your feelings about it all. Why you do it? You think the magnitude of your explanation will make them understand you couldn't possibly attend, but really you're seeking permission to say no. What to do instead? "I can't make it, but thanks for thinking of me. Full stop, if pressed. I have other commitments that day, that's it." 3. The moral defense. This is when you need everyone to know you're a good person making good decisions. "I'm not texting back because I need boundaries and self-care is important and I deserve to protect my peace and..." Why you do it? You feel guilty about your choice and you're trying to convince yourself as much as them that you're justified. What to do instead? Make the choice without the manifesto. Your actions speak. Let them. 4. The expertise dump. Someone questions your decision, so you bury them in information proving you're informed and thoughtful. Research, statistics, expert opinions, you throw everything at them until they surrender. Why you do it? You think if you prove you're right, they'll have to respect your choice. But respect doesn't come from being right. It comes from being decisive. What to do instead? "I've considered it and this is my decision." If they keep pushing, "I understand you see it differently," and then nothing. The Stoic practice of selective silence. Marcus Aurelius didn't explain his every decision to the Senate. He made choices and moved on. When challenged, he had a simple framework that you can adopt. Ask yourself 3 questions before explaining. Did they ask? If someone didn't request an explanation, don't volunteer one. Most of your over-explaining is unprompted. Does this person have authority over this decision? Your boss? Maybe explain. Your coworker? Your distant relative? Random acquaintance? Nope. Will this explanation change anything? If they'll accept your decision either way or if they won't accept it no matter what you say, the explanation is useless. Save your breath. "Because this is what I've decided" is a complete sentence. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most of the judgment you're defending against exists only in your head. The explanation you're agonizing over? They weren't thinking about your choice that deeply anyway. What Alan Watts knew about non-resistance, Watts approached this from a different angle than the Stoics, but arrived at the same place. He said, "Trying to explain yourself is like trying to smooth water by ironing it." Here's what he meant. The more you push back against questioning or judgment, the more resistance you create. It's like being caught in a rip current. If you fight it, you drown. If you relax and let it move past you, you survive. When someone questions your decision and you don't engage, don't defend, don't explain, you're not giving them anything to push against. The conversation dies naturally. But when you launch into justification, you've given them ammunition. Every point you make is a new thing they can question. Watts would say, "You're not in a debate. You're just a person who made a choice." When you remember that, the compulsion to explain evaporates. The 4-week practice. Here's how to break the over-explaining habit. Week 1. The observation phase. Just notice. Every time you start explaining yourself, mentally note it. What triggered it? How did you feel before you explained? How did you feel after? Did the explanation achieve what you wanted? Most people never get past awareness because they don't realize how often they do this. Week 2, the 1-sentence rule. You get 1 sentence of explanation per situation. That's it. Someone asks why you can't attend something? 1 sentence. Questions your choice? 1 sentence. This will feel brutal at first. You'll have the urge to keep talking. Don't. When pressed for more explanation, learn these phrases. I've given it thought, and this is what works for me. I understand you see it differently. I'm comfortable with my decision. I appreciate your concern. Notice none of these actually explain anything. They acknowledge the person without defending yourself. Make your choice, state it if necessary, and then be quiet. Let the silence sit. Get comfortable with people being uncomfortable with your lack of explanation. This is where the power comes in. What changes when you stop? Here's what happens when you actually implement this. People stop questioning you. Paradoxically, when you're willing to explain less, people ask less. They sense you're not open to negotiation and they move on. Your decisions improve. When you're not constantly preparing to defend your choices, you're free to make them based on what you actually want, not what's most defensible. Relationships clarify. People who need you to constantly justify yourself will fall away. People who respect your autonomy will stay. This is how it should be. You reclaim energy. The mental space you were using to prepare, deliver, and recover from explanations becomes available for literally anything else. You develop gravitas. That quality that makes people listen when you do speak. It comes from speaking less, not more. Marcus Aurelius put it simply. Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Stop explaining what kind of person you are, what kind of decisions you make, why you do what you do. Just do it. Let your actions be your explanation. Let your consistency be your defense. The people who matter will understand without explanation. The people who don't understand won't understand no matter how much you explain. And the people who demand constant justification, they're not your people anyway. Your life isn't a dissertation. Your choices aren't up for peer review. You're not on trial. Stop defending. Start living. If these ideas shifted something in how you see yourself and your choices, subscribe to School of Philosophe and ring the notification bell to join thousands of free thinkers exploring the deepest questions of human existence. Your awakening mind deserves nothing less.